What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Tactical Pineapple. I'm Tactical Pineapple, and it's windy as shit today, but we're still fucking riding, guys. It's absolutely been incredible. The weather is holding on, but we're still in the fight for our lives. There's plenty of stuff that I could talk about related to it, but let's just talk about why the Second Amendment is under attack in the first place. We'll do that vroom vroom. We'll pick conversation up right after this. Alright, guys, we're back. It's definitely an interesting thing to think about. The Second Amendment being one of the original, amendments to the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, what our founding fathers felt was the most important items for us to have as freedoms is so fervently under attack right now, it's not even funny. I've heard individuals talk about constitutional Congress and repealing the Second Amendment. I've heard individuals talking about, just outlawing guns completely. I don't know how you can really do that without repealing the Second Amendment. But I have a theory on why they're attacking it so much, why they're attacking it so hard. And I'm going to share it with you guys. So, one of the biggest things is obviously you go extreme opposite end of the spectrum if you want to have room for negotiations to start with, right? So if you go to buy a car and you start the negotiations, you go absolute lowball, right? Especially if it's a dealership. You're not worried about hurting anybody's feelings. You're just looking to get the best deal you can. And what you end up doing is spending, cutting the price by $6,000, $7,000, and then you've got a place to start. If you start the conversation out and you say, well, we're going to go $6,000 under the asking price, right? What you end up with is they got to come up from there. Right? And they're going to give you a little bit to start, but it kind of broaches the subject. If you're dealing with a good negotiator, they'll probably try to stand firm for a minute. You don't want to be the first person to give up any ground in a negotiation, obviously. It's problematic if you are the first person to give up ground, because you're showing that you're the weak person in the conversation, you're a weak one in the fight, right? It's kind of the same in a battle. If you start to retreat and you back up 2 steps, the people who are fighting you know that they can take 2 more steps forward and continue you backing up. So they take it to the absolute extreme, saying, let's repeal the Second Amendment, in hopes that gun advocates are going to say, okay, well, look, you guys want to repeal the Second Amendment altogether, how about we just do this instead? This is traditionally how things have been done as far as gun control in history across America. We are just to a point in America where gun owners are not going to give up ground anymore. The NRA is not the strongest fucking dog in the fight when it comes to gun owners anymore. In fact, most gun owners know and understand that the NRA is a crux when it comes to actually, protecting our rights. It's crazy to think about the fact that the NRA at one point really was the biggest advocacy group for guns in America. Now they are just a shill house, essentially. They're only there to take people's money and make Wayne LaPierre as much as possible. And they may make a couple people uncomfortable here and there. Like I've said it before, they're good cannon fodder, but they aren't doing anything for the Second Amendment. So, as far as I'm concerned, we need to redirect all of our funds to the companies and the people who really are doing something for the Second Amendment. So, we need to be doing things as people right now to try and protect and save companies like SB Tactical, who are being completely shunned out by the brace the pistol brace ban that the ATF is trying to put in place. It's absolutely ridiculous. We need to stand up for those companies more. We need to stop putting money in the pockets of these CEOs and these directors of these companies and organizations that really, they don't deserve the fucking money, right? NRA They put up a couple banners, they do a couple, advertisements here or there, but it's usually too little, too late, and it's just kind of 6 pence to hedge their bet, right? They need to make it look like they're doing something, and when somebody asks them, hey, where'd all that money go, they can say, well, we spent $1 million on advertising to fight blah, 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 blah. I haven't heard one single word from the, NRA about Wisconsin Assembly Bill 293, right? They aren't promoting that. I had to find that on my own. It's not something the mainstream media is trying to push. And pretty much the NRA is towing the line of the mainstream media at this point. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. If you guys are donating your money or you're putting your money in the NRA, you guys are putting your eggs in the wrong fucking basket. I'm not here to tell you, how to handle your money, but it would definitely help the community a lot better if you put it where it belonged. Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition. These organizations are actually putting up a fight. They're doing the work that 90% of us are too afraid to do ourselves. So if you're donating money and you're doing it monthly, pull it from NRA, give it to GOA or FPC, and actually make a difference, because it has to happen. There's a lot of individuals who toe the line and want to pull gun control because they don't understand anything about guns, right? So for a lot of people in this country now, unfortunately, the only exposure to firearms that they have is from Hollywood. And we all know how well Hollywood portrays firearms, right? There's been a few movies where they do a decent job of it, but even then it's glorified. It's not really, it's an idealistic or stylized portrayal of gun ownership or gun usage, right? So, John Wick, probably one of the best movies when it comes to actually handling of firearms, but the reality is there are very, very few people in the world who operate at the level that John Wick in the movies does, and I would even argue that it's not even possible, right? So all of the tactics are sound, all of that is legitimate. Even the round counting, everything like that is perfect in that movie, for all intents and purposes. And there's nobody in the world who could do it, right? Because the reality is you don't get shot that many times and don't go down either. You don't pursue that fight well into, your third pint of blood loss, essentially, right? You don't fall fucking 10 stories to the ground and live. It's not a reality situation, right? That's the glorification and the stylization of it through Hollywood. And that's kind of how things have always been portrayed, right? It's the same thing as a quote-unquote silencer, right? Silencers are silencers, right? They make the gun completely silent. You can't hear it at all. Well, the reality is no, it's basically a fucking muffler, right? My bike has a muffler on it. If I crack the throttle, you can hear it, but it's street legal, right? It's got a muffler. It's a little bit easier on the ears. If I pulled the baffles out or took the muffler completely off, the noise coming from my motorcycle would be completely unruly. It would not be something worth even listening to, right? It would hurt the ears. It would just be ugly sounding, especially over long periods of time. There are certain bikes where it's like, okay, I can listen to it being that loud, but do I want to do it over a long period of time? And it's essentially the same thing with guns, right? Shooting a .22 long rifle probably isn't going to be the loudest experience you're ever going to have in your life, but do you want to do it over and over and over again for months and years on end? No, you're going to have hearing damage. It's going to suck. So that's my opinion on it, right? It's a muffler, not a silencer. But Hollywood always portrays it differently, and we for some reason get saddled with the perception that Hollywood creates. So, seeing as though the liberals, and I hate using the term the liberals, the anti-gunners largely are Hollywood. They are mainstream media. They are the individuals who control the message. They're the ones who control the perception. Perception is probably 90% of our problem nowadays. So we don't do ourselves any favor either when it comes to that. As gun owners, we have several subsets and groups that are either you're the snobby one who makes it impossible for the new guy to get involved, or you're the total FUD type who's like, well, it has to be this, or it's just plain stupid anyways. Gravel again. You know, we just have to do better as a gun community of controlling our own perspective too. You know, helping create a perception of being a good group of people. It's the same as the biker community. I've made the alliteration before because for the most part, bikers are kind of portrayed horribly. We're outlaws, we're this, we're that, we're just dirty, ugly sons of bitches, right? We don't, whatever. But at the end of the day, we're some of the most kind-hearted, most giving individuals out there. And it's the same with the gun community. We are generally good people. We want to protect each and every person that we run across as part of our whole thing. And a lot of people say, well, it's the sheepdog mentality. Well, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. I just want us to be portrayed in better light. And maybe some of that is our own fault because we don't take up for ourselves and do our own due diligence to portray ourselves. Even in the media that is semi-conservative, you know, the Fox News is stuff like that. There's no portrayal of gun people in a real good light. There's you know, the conversation about the individuals every once in a while who may stop a bad guy with a gun being a good guy with a gun, but there's so much more to it than just that, and we really need to get back to it. So there's sports, there's this, there's that. We need to do something to change the perception of guns in America, because the only way we're going to ever end the fight is by changing the minds of individuals who are so feeble that they can just be changed so easily by media. This little conversation is not even close to breaching the whole surface of this subject, but it does open up a conversation. I'd love to chat about it in the comment section down below. If you've got anything, don't forget to like, subscribe, share the video, unsubscribe, thumbs down, whatever the fuck you want. Engagement is engagement. I'm cool with it. I'm Tactical Pineapple. This has been Tactical Pineapple Rides. Keep it 2 wheels down, shiny side up, and carry your fucking pistol, folks. They're coming to take them.